This is episode number 5. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate both of you. This is Alison Turnbaugh and Nick Turnbaugh. You don't go by your real name.
Yeah, no.
But,
James.
Yeah, so where was James a family name?
So my uncle,
Okay.
yes, was James. So,
Yeah.
and I think I've been asked this a lot of times is, why then do you go by Nick? And my parents have always just said they liked that name, but they wanted to have the family name included somehow.
Sure.
And James Nicholas sounded better than Nicholas James, I guess.
So they always called you Nick.
They've called me Nick my entire life. I went through school, different parts where people would call me James or Jim, and most of the time I didn't answer.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So we'll dive into both stories. So we'll start with Nick's story first, and let's start with where you grew up, and then where you went to school, and then we'll eventually get into how you got into your business.
Mm-hmm.
But so tell me where you were born, who your parents were.
Yep. So I was born right here in Ontario, Ohio. Always been here. I was actually born in Gallion Hospital, but born or raised here in Ontario my entire life. The only time I've lived away from here is in college, but came back here after college. My parents were both from Ontario also. Never moved out of the town, so I'm just a hometown person. And they met in high school. We're high school sweethearts, and stayed together after both went for stints in college. My mom a nurse, my dad went to college to try and play football, and then ended up coming back and working summers for, at the time, my uncle Andy Walker that had a concrete company very early on. And so my dad came back, and it was too good of money to leave, so he ended up staying and working for him, and continued to work for him for 40 something years. So, then my parents, I'm the oldest of two. My brother is 4 years younger than me, Wes, and so we never really left here. He's still in town with his family, so we're both from right here and stayed. So
okay. Awesome. And so you just have one brother, which is Wes.
Yep.
Okay. And then, so that early concrete business that your dad was a part of, so did he own part of that with?
Later on,
Okay.
he ended up buying in with Andy and another gentleman, Skip Boggs. But yeah, for a lot of my childhood growing up, my dad was in the concrete construction world, and my mom was a nurse early on. Later in life, she actually became a real estate agent because my grandma, my father's mom, was a real estate agent. So she got into that and had a successful career. I think she stayed in that for about 25 years. The dad in the construction world, obviously, I'd work summer times with him, help them out. So that's sort of how I got into the construction to begin with. Okay. Developed a little bit of a, obviously the trade. I learned the trade and started liking it. So that's something I early on I thought I might want to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, right on. And at what age did you meet Alison?
Well, it was our junior year in college.
I was 20.
Yeah, I think I was I 20 or 21? I mean, I must have been 21.
Yeah.
We're a year apart. So, yeah, it was later in college, which wasn't a bad thing. I mean, I think we both, we've said this before. If we met earlier, who knows? You know what I mean? We actually, she was a college athlete. I hung out with a bunch of construction guys, if that tells you anything. But no, when we met, I think it was perfect timing.
Yeah.
We were both late into our college years and sort of figuring out what we were going to do after college. So
Where did you go to college?
I went to Bowling Green State University.
Okay, and you as well?
I went to the University of Finley.
Oh.
So we met through friends, with her coming up on weekends and hanging out at BG.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it was not too far of a drive down the road, because I would, after we met and hung out for a while, I would make trips down to Finley quite a bit, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. But it worked. Again, for just the year that we were still in school, it was actually perfect timing. So
okay, awesome. So let's go into your story a little bit, and where did you grow up? And
So I grew up actually in Charlotte, North Carolina, or right outside in a little town called Matthews, North Carolina. Yeah. So I lived with my mom and my stepdad for most of my life. I grew up, in a pretty typical childhood. I had a younger sister, 7 years younger than me, half sister. And the neighborhood I grew up in had a pool that we could go to, and they had a swim team. And I was pretty young, probably 6, 7 years old, and I decided I want to swim on the swim team.
Yeah.
And then I decided I wanted to do that all the time, not just in the summer. And there was an aquatic center that had an all year round team, a USA team. At the time it was called MAC, Mecklenburg Aquatic Club. So I got involved in that pretty early on, and that's the only sport I even tried to play. So I swam all the way through high school, and I got a swimming scholarship to go to the University of Findlay. I was pretty adamant on getting out of the state of North Carolina. I just knew I could always go back. There was never that fear of once I leave, I can't go back. I've never feared change. I was kind of always up for going somewhere and doing something. I went to Russia with a group of people when I was in 8th grade. Knew no one on the program. It was at the time it was called People to People.
You went to Russia?
To Russia, yeah, for 12 days. Yeah.
It's kind of wild because growing up here, I remember it was everybody's goal to get out of this state, and the cold's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know what I was in. Yeah. So you don't know what you don't know.
We still joke about that quite a bit. She, she early on, she always said, I don't know if I want to live here forever. You know what I mean? Especially, she'd by that point already experienced several winters being in college up here. Mm-hmm. But we've stayed here. Business and family have kept us here.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I would say business, but family for sure. Yeah. I went to University of Findlay. And we would go to Bowling Green more often than stick around Findlay, just because it's a bigger town, I guess. And we met through some friends, and I left. I was actually the night we met. I was leaving the next day to go. It was Christmas break, so I was going back to North Carolina. So I think for the first 3 weeks after we met, we just got to know each other on the phone. I got in a lot of trouble on the credit card because we had to call using you had to put your credit card number in because you didn't have a cell phone.
A little bit before cell phones and social media and all that stuff.
And my mom got the credit card bill, and she was like, "This guy better be worth it." So, good thing he was. So yeah. She
drove you up early.
Yeah.
Before your Christmas break had ended. Because to meet up with me, because she said she was tired of hearing her talk about me and wanting to come back to Ohio. So
then I came back early and met his family, and then we went back to school and finished that last year out in school. Him at
We're
BG.
dating at the same time during your last year of school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We were. And then we got engaged New Year's Eve of
1999.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yep.
on the millennium.
Yep.
So then after college, you guys decided to move back to Mansfield?
Yeah, it was a pretty easy decision on that. Just because he had a job working for the family business, and I did not know what I was going to do.
Gotcha.
So
you actually drove for 6 months back and forth to Columbus.
From Columbus back, yeah.
First career out of college.
Yeah, I was a communications major, so I found something that would allow me to use that degree in Columbus. But that travel to downtown Columbus and back, I couldn't do it for very long. So I came back, and then I decided, I don't know what I want to do yet, but I could be a substitute teacher. So I started subbing. Actually, that's how I met Carrie for the first time. And so I was a substitute teacher, and they were looking for a swim coach actually at the middle school. And so I started coaching and substituting, and I think I was like, I think I really like this. I like teaching. I like the kids. I liked middle school, which is not a typical thing that most adults, would say. I like being around middle school kids because they're definitely different. So, Yeah, I started looking into the Bachelor's Plus program at Ashland University, where you can acquire your teaching certificates and your master's at the same time. So that's what I did. I finished that program, and I was so fortunate. I really wanted to stay in the Ontario district, and there was a full-time sub position opening up at the high school. So I was able to take that position and stay on, and then a middle school position opened up. And I continued, I think I was 8 years in the middle school. But I ended that career about 10 years ago. I decided that really wasn't where I wanted to be.
You said 10 years ago you ended it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was 10 years ago.
Which
maybe it's 11 years ago now, because it is 26, so yeah.
So how many total years did you do that then?
From substituting till I actually walked away from teaching was about 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What led you to that decision?
I think our family was growing, and he was transitioning from Mansfield Cement into Amcrete, and his schedule was pretty demanding, and our kids' schedule was starting to get, I guess more complicated with sports and extracurriculars, and I just had a pull. I just had this pull, and it just telling me like this isn't where you need to be, right now. It wasn't fulfilling me as it should. Sure. I think, yeah.
I was gonna say, and it helped our family. I think at the time, you and I, you weren't totally happy with it, and I thought, she's like, I think I'd just like to be home for a while, and decide what I want to do, later after that. But
when she shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she, it definitely helped. And I mean, there was, I don't know the length of time for sure.
It wasn't long.
Yeah.
So I, walked away from teaching in May, and by July I was already part owner of a fitness studio, like in town. So, sorry. So that project happened, and I thought, this is going to be great because I can align my schedule and tailor it around the kids, around him. And for the most part, I was able to. I mean, there were a lot of benefits to that. And I was a part of that for about 5 years until, again, I got this feeling, again, like this isn't where I'm supposed to be. I've already proven to myself that I don't have to keep doing the same thing just because you have a degree or, that's what you think you want to do. So it was a little bit easier to pull the trigger to, walk away from that. And actually, the timing of it couldn't have been more perfect because COVID hit about 2 months after that. So,
which studio was it?
It was called Evolve Bar Yoga Pilates.
Is it still open?
It's not.
Okay.
No, it's not. So I sold my, portion of the company to, that's the right term, yeah. And then was out of that, and COVID hit. So I'm at home with 3 kids. I'm teaching them. I'm using my teaching degree now, helping the kids with schoolwork, and at the same time, though, for those months of being at home with the kids and not really having a lot of, structure and things that we can go and do. Sports were shut down. Gyms were shut down. There was just not a lot. We spent a lot of time in the woods, walking, hiking, biking. I think we bought all new bikes for the whole family we could just do stuff. And I could feel my brain like, okay, you've got too much time on your hands. Your brain's going. So I don't think I even told you. I just said, I'm going to look into real estate. I'm just going to see. Like, let's look into this.
I think you told me. You told me at least we're going to explore
options.
Yeah.
And I found a program that you could do it all online at your own pace. And so I just kind of let's just do this. Who knows if I'm going to use it? Who knows what I'm going to do with it? But it's going to give my mind something to concentrate on and do outside of just, being at home with kids and doing their schoolwork. So that's what I did. And there was no other option for me than to go to Sluss. I knew that. With my mother-in-law and then his grandmother, they all worked for Sluss from the beginning, from Gerald Sluss Sr.
Yep. So Gerald started it?
Yes.
And then
Bix
bought it.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then now
Now it's in
Grant.
third generation.
Yeah, it's third generation. And so there was no doubt in my mind. I mean, I wasn't going to look anywhere else. So I actually had a little conversation with Bix about real estate, and he's like, well, if you think you're going to get into it, obviously if you have any questions. And so I took the leap of faith and passed the test on the first try, so that was good. That's nervous when you're 43 years old and you're changing your career again for the third time. It's kind of scary what people are going to think, like, oh, what, she's not doing the same thing, she keeps changing her mind. But I look at it as I'm pretty fortunate to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So once I'm done with something, I'm done. I don't like to just,
I think before, so how many total years have you been with Sluss?
This is also going into year 4.
Okay.
With
All right.
Sluss,
Well, don't quit.
No,
She's enjoying this. So
I'm enjoying this.
I don't think that's a worry.
Yeah.
So interesting. So we used Roger Heston from Sluss for our I think it was actually 2 house purchases through Sluss, and then the second one, maybe it was, I'm 99% sure it was him before you were there, and you were our agent for here, so that was awesome.
Thank you.
But we had some issues. Like we only did one inspection. I had a bunch of contracting buddies come and look at our house, and everybody was like, this is solid, there's no point in paying for an actual inspection, which I'm sure you guys probably frown upon that. However, there were people I trusted.
Right.
And so I didn't want to spend the money on that, but Carrie felt like, hey, we should probably have a termite inspection since the house was built in 1830. And so we did, and everything checked out. Well, there was one piece in the back of the house that had, it looked like it had probably had water damage at some point, and that's where we thought the chimney was going up. So we were pulling that and patching the hole in the roof for the chimney anyway. So I was like, it's no big deal. And the former owner agreed to pay for the repair of the veneer on this cabinet. And so when they came to pull it out, there was just termites just loaded in there. So we were, the inspector obviously missed it, so we were pretty upset. We were like, hey, I don't know that we want this house anymore, but we had already signed the agreement, and so Bix was actually like pretty awesome to deal with during that, because he walked us through it and was just like, well guys, do you like the house? And we're like, yeah. Do you think that it's able to be remedied? And we talked with the guy who inspected, and he's like, well, we can make these go away, and it's not that big of a deal. But anyway, that's just to speak highly of Bix during that time. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and we became family friends with the Slusses over the years. With, again, my grandma and my mom both being agents. My dad and Bix hunted together a lot, and so we get to know them well. Known Grant and his siblings since they were young. So again, it was just that was going to be the right fit for us.
Yeah,
there was a comfort level that there wouldn't have been anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
it's cool to see like Bix owning it, and then Grant taking over and watching his wife
absolutely
explode their social media. Jamie's done
do a
awesome
great job.
with that.
It's we're blessed, obviously, that they're we knew they were great people, but just that they continue to grow and and do well. So
definitely shout out to Sluss.
Yes, definitely shout out to Sluss.
If you're looking for an agent, I think Alison's awesome.
Thank you.
Had an awesome experience with you during our purchase of this building.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So that was my journey, and that's kind of where I am today with real estate.
Sure.
And
so let's backtrack just a hair, because we didn't talk about how you started Amcrete, but also like your kids as well. Like, how many kids do you have, and how old are they?
So we have 3 kids. We've got 2 daughters. They're both in college. And then our son is the youngest, and he is still in high school right now. Yeah. So, and our oldest daughter is at Ashland University. She's on the women's soccer team. She'll be finishing up her junior year this year, so one more year.
Yeah.
And then she's into the real world. And then our daughter, or our middle daughter, is at Miami of Ohio. And she got into the business school there. And she is a business marketing major right now.
She's a freshman, but she did the College Now program in high school, which enabled her to get her associate's degree, and so she's by school she's a junior in college. We often joke, I'm like, I don't think she's going to be ready to be done, even if she is, if she graduates in another year. She's enjoying it a lot.
Yeah.
Recently, she just got into a sorority, so exciting for her. But she, again, I'm thinking there's no way she's going to be ready to be done with this in another year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
Hopefully for your pocketbook.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Our pocketbook will appreciate her being done in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our oldest daughter she'd been dating the same young man for, I think, since they were in 8th grade. And they both ended up going to Ashland University. She plays soccer and he wrestles. And they recently got engaged. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But me being the person it's all exciting stuff, but I'm thinking 2 in college, a wedding coming up, it's a lot, but you know what? Yeah. That's what life is. It's, these are blessings and opportunities. So it's not like I'm, but still figuring that all out.
Yeah.
Things you thought you were prepared for. It can be challenges, but yeah.
And so, talk about the start of Amcrete and how that went, and how it's going, and where it's going.
So I worked at. I came out of college. I worked at Mansfield Cement in Lexington for 9 years. Like to believe they gave me a great foundation. I was able to pretty much do anything with my dad being part owner and my uncle, the main owner. I was able to learn every facet of the business through them. Obviously helped myself by getting a college degree, and so that enabled me to come into the office and learn about the business itself. But basically they let me do everything in there. I think I was the safety director. I was, head of estimating. I project managed. They actually would buy, side business. They bought properties around Lexington. Andy owned quite a few. They all bought into them, and so they made me the property manager of the properties, which I did for a few years there. And they actually called me Mr. Roper. That was their little joke with me, so their little nickname.
I think that inspired us, though,
thing,
to get.
right?
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Man, I bet you have some stories with.
Grandpa
Andy.
Yes. One of the most influential people in my life.
Does he even remember your name?
Yeah. He definitely does.
That's what I joke with Sean and Andy about. I'm like, and Drew Nelson. I'm like, man, I've met. I call him Grandpa Andy because it's little Andy and Grandpa Andy.
Yeah.
But I say, man, the Grandpa Andy doesn't know my name. And Drew told me one time, he's like, Josh, I've been part of the family for however many years, and he still doesn't remember my name.
He's called me a lot of different things over the years, but he did. Who told me the other day that he was awake, but he woke up and he said something. Called Kim, or maybe Kim was there, and he said, I need my black book. His names that he had, clients for years in, and he said, Nick called me. I didn't, so he was dreaming or something. But he said, Nick called me, and he needs more work. He needs help. So I need you to get that book for me, so he can, I can get some names to him. So I thought that was
That's cool.
That was pretty neat. But no, he's called me, and it's been a while. But he used to call me about every month and just check in and see how things are going. And and he's like I said, If you know Andy, the character he is, but just a genuine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Huge heart, good person. But to work for him, I'm glad. I absolutely glad. Maybe the first couple of years I wouldn't have said the same thing because he's a drill sergeant, and there's very few like Andy. I'd like to believe that he came up, the school of hard knocks, if you will. And it started getting into the construction early, and I think they used to tell me that he actually probably ran more people off than he retained every year, just because he was such a hard worker and dedicated, and he didn't go for people that weren't like that. So when I first went into the office, I can remember this after college, Skip would have me estimating a project. And I'm at the time, I'm a young, pretty strong guy, and I was pretty good in the concrete in the field too. And Andy, he just couldn't help himself. I'd see him when he'd start pacing back and forth past my office door. I knew it was coming. He'd walk in my office and say, "You busy?" I'd say, "Well, I'm working on this bid that Skip really needs me to get done." "Well, hey, I need you to do something for me. Only take a few minutes." I'm like, "Okay." And I'd either end up, going to a job and working for the rest of the day, or there was a couple times Andy would take me out himself, and we'd pour concrete together. We poured a garage, just him and I, which was exciting and interesting. I mean, if you've ever worked around Andy, I mean, it's hard to do anything right. And I was glad towards the end of my years there. I mean, he actually would compliment me more than he would, yell at me or chew me out. So I knew I was on the right track. But like I said, I'm glad I got the foundation there at Mansfield Cement that I did. I don't know that if I had went to another company that I, probably wouldn't have got the every bit of the business actually taught to me.
Yeah.
So in 2009, I left there. I had gotten to know Randy Payne pretty well, that owns Adena Corporation, and him and I were talking quite a bit, and he had asked me if I would ever be interested in coming over and running his concrete division for Adena. And I told him, I don't know that I really want to go to work. If I left there, because at that time I probably had an opportunity to become an owner there. But he said, well, what would you do then? And I said, well, I'd be interested in owning something. And so he and I partnered, and I actually left Mansfield Cement and we started another company. I didn't necessarily want to become a competitor to Mansfield Cement. But what I did want to do is I wanted to try different things that we didn't do at Mansfield Cement. There's there's quite a bit, that not just concrete construction. There's what we did. We started three arms. We started a decorative side where we did like polishing and staining and decorative concrete. We had the bread and butter. We still did the commercial concrete work, but we also did rock work, vertical rock work. So we do things like zoos and amusement parks. We, if you ever go to the exhibits at the zoos, you see looks like big rocks that the animals are in their in their habitat, and those are all concrete typically. I mean, they're fake rocks. So we wanted to do all of those things. So I was running all those arms for several years until we decided that. And Mansfield Cement actually closed up shop a couple years later. My dad, Andy, was out at that point. My dad was in his mid-60s, and Skip was not far behind him. So they closed up shop, and so I ended up going back to some of the clients that they had at that point, and taking those clients on too. And then eventually we bought some of the equipment from them as well. I bought their pumps and their some of their other big equipment that was going to help us. That like I said, we started Amcrete in 2009, and we're still running it successfully.
Yeah.
We're about 50 guys total.
Yeah.
And we just recently opened up an office in Florida. Adena has an office in Lakeland, Florida. So for the last few years they've asked if I would come down there and do work, and every now and then we would go down and do a project. But I had buy-in from one of my main guys in my office that he was interested in helping, maybe get that business running down there and operating it. So he goes back and forth, which is a huge help. Without that, I don't know. I didn't want to just, blindly go down there and try to find people to run every aspect of it, which we are finding people, but at least with him going down, I trust that he's been with me for almost the entire time that we've been in business. And so he's doing a great job, and the goal is to grow slow down there, but to hopefully do it right, and be able to maintain that office down the road as well. So so that's it. We're going strong, 16 years in, and things are going well.
Awesome. So let's kind of transition into obviously we've known your family for a while, Carrie and I. She swam with you, and did you have her as a student too?
I believe she was in high school when I started like the full-time sub position at the high school, but she was a little bit older, so I don't think I ever had her in the classroom.
Okay.
But definitely on the swim team.
Yeah, and
part of that program and
we
summer
both
swim.
swam, but she's by far a better swimmer.
Yeah.
Don't tell her.
Well, Alison's definitely a better swimmer than me too.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Definitely.
You just sink, or
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I've always felt good when we're anywhere on a boat. I'm like, well, I got somebody that maybe could drag me to shore, better than most
Also
people.
lifeguard
So
certified too, so that's good. Yeah.
yeah,
she's a 12-time All-American. I'll give her that little,
yeah.
shout out.
Did you do well in swimming in college?
I did. I mean, yeah, I think. I mean, it seems so long ago.
Yeah.
I went to Findlay was a smaller school compared to, the club team that I swam for in North Carolina. I mean, we were a powerhouse. There were swimmers that made me look JV. Just very low on the totem pole.
Olympians,
Olympians, yeah. So, so when I did want to go to a college in which I was kind of the top of the food chain, I would say. Like I was, looking at records and things like that. So yeah, I went to Findlay and I was able to break some records at that time, which have since been broken probably several times since then. And I enjoyed my time there. I enjoyed being a college athlete while I was there. I think that definitely helped me focus on, school and sports. I found my way out of those things a few times, probably more than I should have. So I'm definitely glad I had structure with sports in college. And it was great. It was great. It was my first experience in Ohio. Yeah. So I had to.
Why do you think, so I'm seeing it now in Georgia, at least, because one of my sisters lives there, but like, the swimming sports in the South seem to be way stronger than they are up here. Like, it's...
Oh, I would agree.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's competitive just like anything else, whereas here we just have, high school, middle school swimming, if you're lucky, and then, summer swim team. But why do you think that is?
I don't, well, and if you're talking specifically about our area, that is, that is true. And I think because when you go to like a bigger city, like in Charlotte, we had an aquatic center. We've got multiple aquatic centers. There's places for you to go and to, swim all year round.
With high level instruction.
With high level, And, here, if you think about even just Richland County, how many indoor pools do we have total? 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
We're fortunate that Ontario High School has has a pool.
And this is actually kind of I wouldn't say it's like a debate that Nick and I have had, but it's an ongoing conversation that we've had about if you want to be great at a sport, you do one sport and you become great at it. And there's a lot of multi-sport athletes perform better, and I think it can go both ways.
I was a multi-sport person, so like she said, we debate about it because she's convinced me over the years, and it shows in our own kids. But for a long time, I thought, no, I don't think you're as well rounded if you don't, if you're going to be an athlete, why not try multiple sports? And the debate was, I think people that are really good at multiple sports at that time, again, trump somebody that's just really good at one sport. And like I said, she's convinced me because our own kids, our oldest plays soccer in college, and she narrowed down to one sport. Other than her senior year in high school, she went out for track. I wanted her personally. I wanted her to go out for track. She was very fast. I wanted her to go out earlier on, and she didn't. But she ended up running her senior year and placed 5th in state. So it was worth it for her.
On a relay.
Yeah, on a relay. Yeah. But it was still a great experience. And but beyond that, she just was a soccer player and at a high level like her. We debated and we ended up we had great foundation in Ontario with Ken Spencer. He was her first coach, and then we ended up his daughter and Addie. He helped us find a bigger club up in Cleveland.
Yeah, so that's where I was going with that is.
But none of your kids swam.
Morgan did they all three swam in one summer season.
Okay.
Morgan swam in 7th grade, and I actually went back to coach for one season. And then after that year, her 8th grade year, there was, I think it's the current high school coach now, wanted to get into the program. She had younger kids that were in the program, and I knew that she was an incredible coach. Her kids were incredible swimmers, and I thought, yes, please do this. And but after her 8th grade year, none of my kids after that have wanted to get into swimming. But back to your original question, like, why is that? Why do we feel like maybe swimming is just larger, sport in the South? Is, I think, especially in our area, it's just the lack of the resources that we don't have.
Okay.
I mean, and I would say that even in other sports. I mean, I don't know how many, maybe older parents that you have as friends who have athletes. Like we take our son to Columbus, a few times a week for wrestling. Addison went to Cleveland for years. I mean, how many nights a week were we driving to Cleveland? Just
people think we're crazy. We were crazy friends. But,
yeah, just higher level training in those places that have it.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's a trade-off there. I think I still would rather live in a smaller town now, especially the older that I get, than we get to Columbus or Cleveland, like the traffic is terrible.
And getting worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, the worst thing you have here is on the weekend evenings.
Yeah.
Down like Spring Mill.
Oh yeah.
That's it. So.
Yeah, and it's definitely still no comparison to
right.
every day in Columbus, but
So.
I agree with you. I mean, I think it's all resources and just I think swimming. There's pockets, but again, in the big cities in the north that are good.
When it comes to swimming, from what I know, you're 5 days a week before school. At least I was. You are right after school. You're on weekends, weekends traveling to different swimmings, but if you have a practice, it's usually a 3-hour practice. So, I mean, it's a lot to do that before school, after school. I mean, if you don't have something local that's providing that opportunity for you and you have to make that drive, I don't know. I think that may have been too much for us if we had that.
Yeah, you said something interesting. I was actually watching. I've been committed to running a marathon in May, and so I've been training for it. And it's obviously my phone is listening to me. And but there was a guy that's an ultra runner, and he was talking about how he believes, at least for training aspects, that being a hybrid athlete is super important for training. And I thought that was interesting when you said that you've come to the conclusion that dialing in on one sport is, and I think he's talking about different things, is probably more cross training, but
it is. Yeah.
But
no, I've read, our own kids, they have. I was going to say I've read similar things that our own kids have had. They get injuries that they're. Addie's had some that just stuck with her because she's doing the same repetitive motions, things every day. And so, I still think that yes, and kids, Addie's lucky. She's got a full-time training staff in college now that can help her. But a lot of kids do these competitive, high-level sports and the same repetitive motions over and over and over and over. And you're not working sometimes other things. Or they're not stretching well enough. I mean, this is where her being a yoga, instructor and
that was a
owner,
huge drive for me when I was part owner at Evolve. I got certified into kids yoga, and then I started focusing on athletes.
And you did that some at Ontario for the football
I
players?
did, yes.
Yeah.
I think it was 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the other sports, we're reaching out to at the time. I know, I think in Madison, they've got some of their athletes doing yoga. They've got at Clear Fork, I think Clear Fork's doing some yoga with some other athletes, and I think that it's a really important. I remember watching the kids. 10 minutes of stretching, and they're like stretching out their arms and a little, touch their toes. It's not real stretching. So, I think there's some preventative mechanisms to doing yoga as an athlete, and something you can do after your sporting days are over.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, every time I don't do it much, but every time I pull up one and do it, I'm like, boy, why don't I do that every
Right.
day?
Often, I know, I know.
should.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I say
Yeah.
the same things. I
Yeah.
mean, when we do go, she still drags me to yoga classes every now and then. I think yes, I should be doing this
Yeah.
consistently because it helps.
Oh man, it's so great.
I mean, beyond athletes, obviously just staying, flexible and, because let's face it, I mean, every now and then I'll do something crazy and try to race my daughter or do something, and, very easy to pull something now, as I get older. So, and I have, but, so yeah, I mean, it's important if you're going to, I mean, I think, like I said, even for athletes is to, so one sport, multiple sports, I still think you've got to be able to, like you mentioned, cross train and do things to try to prevent injuries. So.
Yeah, for sure. So what led you here to CAJO Healing Therapies? We were talking right before we started, and it's been about 3 years since both of you have been with us, and I think you said you started with us.
I was the first,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've always, health, fitness, exercise is, sometimes less than others in my life, points in my life, but it's always been a part of us. And again, with the kids and sports, and I guess the business for the better part of 16 years has taken me away from, well, at least it was my excuse at times to do as much as I did before that. But as the kids are getting older, I mean, and we're getting older, and you feel that I'm starting to realize I need to do more for myself. It's hard to, kids are growing up, a business, it's hard to, focus on yourself. And, but in the last few years, it's become more important to me again to start focusing again, because I want to stick around and see my kids, grow and succeed and have kids. And so I'm hoping that, that to find those things are going to help me with that. And, I'd gotten back into exercise some and some supplements here and there, but, it's still, I didn't feel like I had the energy levels and, a lot of little things that I had, like I said, in years past when I was training. And so, I think, coming here in particular, I think I had talked to somebody, and I can't remember exactly who, but somebody mentioned that you guys were doing this now, and I'd seen it, and I thought it looked appealing, but didn't know a whole lot about it, until I actually came in and had a consultation with you guys.
Yeah. So what were some of your symptoms when you first started?
Just fatigue, tired. I mean, get home and be ready to crash. Then and just I just feeling older. I mean, I felt
recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just I felt like there were just things were, I don't need to say going downhill, but I just didn't feel like I felt a few years ago. And so I again, whoever I spoke to and things I'd read or seen it, it talked about those things. And like you said, how your phone listens to you. I think my phone even probably put some stuff up there that I started looking into, and I thought it was definitely something I wanted to try.
Yeah.
So
awesome. So what have you gained from, and so you've done bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, and you've done some of our weight loss when you've needed it.
Yep.
So,
I mean, I'm still doing it, and obviously it's it's a testament in itself that I mean it definitely works. I feel more energetic. I mean, there's the recovery, like Alison mentioned, has been a lot better. I can go exercise, and I'm not as sore for as long.
right.
But I think in all, it's been a great experience.
Yeah.
One of the best choices we've made in the last few years. Just
Even like mood.
I mean, absolutely. I mean,
you feel better.
Running a business, kids, everything else. I mean, at times you're just short-tempered, but it's definitely made me, I think, be able to deal with those stresses a little bit better.
I think a lot of people, men in particular, are not as conscious to how they feel, and when we feel miserable, we become irritable, and I think that's a really, if we could grasp how bad we actually feel. I have a lot of patients that'll say, I didn't realize how bad I felt till I did this.
Right.
And
No, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, didn't realize it. Again, once you certain things, I feel like I'm 25, 30 years old again. And I'll be 50 this year. So, I definitely, it's yeah. To your point, exactly. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
What was actually that bad.
So I don't ever have the opportunity, because you guys are the first ones that I've done as a couple, but what have you seen that's been different in him since he started?
Mood, especially, like his mood. And I would say, like, even just together, we have more energy. When I say that, like, we're motivated to want to go out for a walk, or, we're not just, we're so tired. I don't know how many times I hear people in conversations, whether it's friends or just, people just say, I'm just too tired to do anything. Like, I'm just too tired to do anything. And I remember feeling that way. I remember just sitting and thinking, I don't even want to get off this couch to go on a walk. I don't want to go throw the Frisbee with the kids. Like, I just didn't want to do any of that.
Do you do much of that? No. Just kidding.
Yeah. But I remember just sitting there thinking, like, gosh, I really just wish I had more, like, oomph in my life, to want to go and do stuff, and, and I think I've seen that in you. And then, I think recovery, when it comes to when he's working out regularly, I'll say, oh my gosh, my legs are so sore, my arms, and he's like, I feel fine.
Yeah, honestly.
And he's pushing himself. I see the weight that he's doing, and I'm thinking, how are you not sore? I can hardly walk.
Yeah, that's been in the last few months you've said that.
I have.
And I'm not as consistent as I'd like to be in the gym, but when I do go, it's like it's not like, I'm restarting again. I'm going to have a month of soreness. It's, literally, a day, two the most, and I feel normal, feel good again. So it's definitely a testament to this, because it wasn't that way a few years ago.
Yeah.
I'd go work out and I'd have to, I'd drag myself for 3 days.
And you would stop, because it was just like, I don't want to feel like this for this long.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. Makes going to the gym easier. I just need to consistently get in there.
I had a similar situation with myself. We used to cut wood for the dog kennel, and you guys used to bring your dogs to us, but I would cut wood, and I'd cut, usually anywhere from 6 to 8 cords a year, but I would try to get all that done in 2 or 3 weekends. And I never remember being sore from that. I could cut, split, stack 2 to 3 to 4 cords a day, like an all-day activity. I'd get up and I'd be fine the next day, and then but then a storm rolled through our house, and and there was like 15 trees down. It was bad.
I remember that. Oh, I remember the story.
yeah. And so anyway, I cut and split maybe a half a cord to a cord, and I hurt for 2 weeks. And I was like, man, there's something wrong. Like, either I'm just way out of shape, or something's wrong. And then it was shortly after that I started on hormone therapy myself, and ended up having to wax the boat. It took me 10 to 12 hours to do, and I did it all in a day. And I was like, man, I'm not going to feel good tomorrow. And I just started my hormone stuff, and I woke up the next day. I was sore, but I wasn't like I used to be. I was just like, this is pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me about you and what. So Nick said he's going to do it, and you told us both before that, well, if you're going to do it, then I'm going to do it.
Yeah, definitely. So when he told me about, coming here and getting information about it and doing this, I was like, well, I am too. I'm going to make my appointment. So I did let him come first, though.
Yeah.
And
I was a guinea pig.
He was, yeah. So I could hear about it and like the process and stuff. And so, that's when I decided to get on board too. But even prior to that, I can remember exactly being 38 years old and thinking, I am not okay. Like, what is wrong with me? Again, low energy, my sleep. I think I went a few years. I don't think I slept a full night without waking up several times. My sleep, that was the biggest thing for me. Once I started just feeling miserable because I wasn't sleeping at night. Hot flashes were starting. So I didn't really know a whole lot about perimenopause or menopause like you do now, because it's everywhere. But in my head, if people would bring up menopause, I'm like, there's no way I'm 38. Like, that's not happening. There's something wrong. And I did go, I got blood work done. And then wherever I went, they were like, here, take all of these supplements, you know, just take these supplements, it'll fix your problems. It didn't. I mean, I still was feeling the same. And so, when, I mean, I did all kinds of things, you know, cleanses. I thought maybe it was, you know.
I can remember this.
I mean, I think every gimmick that came out that's going to make you feel better. I was on board with trying. So I came here and got my first round of pellets. And I don't know if you really realize the first round what's improving until it's time to come and get your second round.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking, gosh, I'm feeling a little like tired, or just not, I didn't have enough pep in my step. And I was maybe, you know, why am I waking up? I usually am sleeping so good. But when you realize, in 2 weeks, I'm going back to get my, next round of pellets, it all started making sense. And so I know when I talk about them all the time, I'm never afraid to let people know the things that I do to help myself feel better. And I tell people all the time, if you're not going to stick it out for a year, you need to stick it out for a year. If you're not going to be willing to do that, I don't know if you're going to be able to maximize the benefits of the hormone replacements.
Yeah.
So
I would even go as far as saying, though, you know, if it's a financial thing, then absolutely,
right.
I would agree, because we don't want to put anybody in a financial strain. But I can attest to that. Like, we always tell everybody 2 to 3 sessions before you decide if it's for you. Mm-hmm. And then we tell patients a lot, if at the end of that you don't think it's doing anything, that's totally fine. Let it wear off and see how you're doing. Mm-hmm. And if you're not doing well after that, then you can equate that to, I need my hormone optimization. So, but that's pretty awesome. So what do you see different in her since she started?
I mean, very similar to what she said about me. I mean, energy, mood, for sure. I mean, just in general, we're like she mentioned that I get home from work and you want to go for a walk. It's, well, not today, but most days, if it's decent out, we'll go for a walk. We'll do something, that we, like, again, 4 or 5 years ago, let's eat dinner and, read a book or veg or, do nothing. And, it's definitely, I think we do more now. We feel like doing more. And that, we're both, I don't know, I was going to say we fight less. We don't fight a lot, but I mean,
we're less irritable with each other.
Yeah. It's just the little stuff, it's just no big deal anymore.
And the crazy thing is the older our kids get, like, we're spending more time together. And you hear that all the time, like, oh my gosh, the more time we spend together, the more they get on my nerves or whatever. But I think it's great. Like, I actually, when we're not together, I get a little bit upset. I get a little bit upset if he wants to go and do something without me. I'm like,
that's true.
But I want you to be with me.
Yeah. No, that's true. I should. Yeah, I definitely. Yeah. I appreciate that.
So I think that we're just more pleasant people, because we feel good. I'm not saying we feel great every single day and things don't knock us down.
Yeah.
But I think overall, I constantly hear women talk about just the ailments that I dealt with, and I am a huge advocate. I'm like, you need to go to CAJO. Just go talk to them, to everyone, because you don't have to live that way.
We really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, again, I'm not great in front of cameras, but I'm like, no, I'll do this because I truly think it's worth telling people that it definitely it works for us. For sure.
And you guys are so transparent too. Like you said, I started taking the hormone replacements. Like, you guys are very transparent and are using, the things that you're helping people with.
Oh yeah.
And I think too, I think that helps a lot. If people come in with concerns about, what are they? What are my risks? It's all out there. I mean, you guys are very transparent with everything, and I think that's comforting for people to know, that.
for sure.
you're using it too. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, we can't treat ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have to.
But
Unfortunately, go to another clinic.
But yeah,
right, but
they're
like
saying
I mean,
Yeah, but we don't dictate what we do,
Sure.
but we know enough that, hey, if somebody's not treating us the way that we
Yeah.
would treat a patient,
Right.
then
Right.
we'll
Absolutely.
find somewhere else. But
Yeah, and you know, I mean, it'd been a long time, I think, before I came here and got my blood work done. That I've been watching some of those markers, and it's obviously it's important, and I just I'd gotten away from that, and so coming here and doing this, I think that regimen of obviously having professionals, but people that are watching it for you, telling you what's good and not so good on the on the blood work, and and obviously getting those things fixed is huge.
yeah.
So
and I do love the fact that of the pellets, it's they're inserted, and then if I have to remember, I mean, I do. I'm pretty good about taking my vitamins that Nick purchases a lot of. Yeah.
we talk about it times. He's like, "You sure you're not going to get in trouble? Do you have this at home or not?" And I'm like, "I don't think so."
Yeah.
So, but it's just nice. That's taken care of, and it's not more pills or creams. I mean, I just.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
It's great because
convenience is the right word, but
yeah.
I mean,
I know there's people out there that give themselves the shot, or which is fine, but for us, this works better for us. So.
Yeah, I mean, but you guys know we offer all of that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We just
whatever's best
this method works best for us, and we're enjoying it. And again, we're going to continue to come back. I
know that's what someone asked me. They said, "Well, when will you stop?" And I said, "When someone tells me I have to, probably." I mean, I don't know why you. I mean, that's why. And I've asked you these things, but why would you ever have to? And I mean, I don't.
You don't. Yeah. You don't ever need to.
Yeah.
So I mean, unless there's some scientific evidence that comes out, and
right.
I mean, the push is obviously the FDA took the black box warning off of estradiol, which is huge for women. That's like they've always recognized men have this deficiency, but women go under there. We don't care about how you feel, and that's wrong. I mean, it's and a lot of people took the research the wrong way, and it was pretty clear in the research that it didn't cause cancer or whatnot. So there's always risks with everything you do.
Sure. Yeah, but to get the energy levels back, to get in a lot of ways feeling like I did years ago is it's definitely worth it for me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we love it here. Love the new building. Looks great.
Absolutely. It's convenient. You guys are very close to us. I know guys have friends that have done this kind of stuff in a lot of years before when they go to Columbus, they go to Cleveland. And it's having you guys right here is nice.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know if people are worried. I will say every time I come, even here or in the previous building, you're not walking into a waiting room of lots of people. That it's always a pretty intimate situation. I mean, you have to step on the scale and all that kind of stuff, which is not really fun for women, probably maybe men either.
No, it's not fun for me most of it.
It's so
we do respect people who don't want to and take their word for their word, but we like to have those numbers, and I don't ever focus on them unless it's something you bring up to me that, hey, I want help with this weight issue.
So I mean, feel really comfortable. It's very just. Everything about it, it's just been great for us. So we're really appreciative.
Yeah, well, we're appreciative of you guys as well. So
absolutely,
awesome.
Yeah.
Let me see if we missed anything here. So any final thoughts of what would you recommend to somebody if they wanted to come see us?
Book the consultation for sure. And get all of the information, book the consultation, get all of the information. I would say come with your, keep a running tab of what's going on, how are you feeling? Because I think that's huge. I mean, I knew for a fact, my number one thing was sleep. Everything else was going downhill because, the lack of sleep. I now prioritize sleep. It's huge in my life. And And I think if you start just writing down all of those, ailments that you're feeling, symptoms that you're having, and then you guys can probably really start to address like what's going on, and, get the blood work. What is it going to hurt? Even if you don't move forward with anything else, at least you've got the knowledge of what's going on with your body and what you're lacking, or maybe you have too much of something. I don't know, but
well, everybody's different, and everything can. We've thankfully had the opportunity to catch a lot of things on some patients that could have led them to an early death, and it's more work for us, but I actually find enjoyment in that. I don't typically make any more money in finding those things, but it's sad. That's the satisfaction I get in my job, is like helping people who are coming, but then also finding things that no other provider has found, and it's like it's rewarding, but it's also rewarding knowing that those people are probably going to be around a lot longer because of that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'd just add that, I still now and then talk to people about it, and I'm like her, I'm pretty open about it if, somebody asks or the conversation piece comes up, and it's amazing how many people still don't really know a ton about it, and so, I talk to people about it, and they're like, really? So what, all the common questions, what's it doing for you, like we talked about, and, it's I like it too when people that are telling me about, oh man, we're getting old, I'm tired, I don't want to do it. I'm like, well, you can, there's things you can do, that obviously are, I know at this point that they're going to help. So it's I find enjoyment in that too, and I guess that's how most of the conversations come up, is just talking amongst friends my age, peers that are like, oh geez, I'm exhausted, don't want to do this anymore, don't want to do that, and I'm like, well, we don't have as much of that anymore, so it's been great.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. So appreciate you having us in. This is it's been fun, but like I told you even before this, I'm like, I want to, it's good to get the word out, because it has been successful for us. So that's the biggest thing to me is you don't have to feel like you
don't have to feel old.
What old is.
I know.
So
Well, thanks so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We appreciate it.
Yeah, so if you need commercial concrete work, get a hold of Nick at Amcrete. And if you need a realtor, Alison's awesome. So we
appreciate
had an excellent experience with you.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, this was fun.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.